Hold on. Wait for it. We're getting there. What the heck does duct tape have to do with your business? Well, most lash artists start off by duct taping their business together. And I'm going to share with you today as to why that's a costly mistake. It's costing you time, money, energy, and most importantly, clients. Just kidding. My name is Tara Walsh, and aside from being a professional de-duct taper of lash businesses, I'm also a licensed esthetician, master lash artist, and business coach, consultant, and marketing strategist for lash artists just like you. I coach lash artists from all over the world on how to start, build, and grow a thriving lash business on their own terms. I share bite-sized knowledge nuggets for you to start taking your business and your life to the next level, and I offer valuable insights and strategies to take you from overlooked to fully booked. This is the Lessons of a Lashpreneur. Welcome to episode 24. Now, I would have to say that I'm going to venture 100% of the lash artists I work with have never owned a business before becoming a lash business owner. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. That doesn't mean that they aren't savvy. That doesn't mean that they can't learn, but for the most part, they're just not that experienced in what business is, or they've only had it from an employee perspective. And if you've been following me long enough, you know that I teach a lot on entrepreneurial mindset, which is much different than that of an employee. And so a lot of what I do is start to take down the habits and even the duct taping of employee mindset versus an entrepreneurial mindset. What makes the difference between a successful business and a struggling or failing business is systems. What are systems? Are you talking like a stereo system? Are you talking about, my system for online booking? I'm talking about like systems, processes. It's the business word for routine. What makes a business is a series of systems or routines that then creates the business to grow or scale or be repeatable. We need a system in place for everything that we do so that it can be a repeatable system in our business. Thus we can grow, thus we can take more clients without it taking up exponentially more time. So our life is made up of routines. Whether they're intentional or not, we have routines. Even applying your makeup is a routine. You either apply your eye makeup first so that you don't get dabbles of eyeshadow on your cheeks and then look like a raccoon all day, right? Or you don't tend to put blush on before you put foundation on because then you have to reapply the blush. We all have a system for how we put on our makeup. It makes it repeatable. It takes the thought process out of it, right? So every morning we wake up and we start with our normal routine. Even nighttime routines or morning routines or routines of going to Starbucks and getting your same thing every morning because you become addicted to the caffeine or the sugar high. We all have routines that make our life systemized and repeatable. Now, I have to admit that I'm not a huge fan of routine just because I'm a little bit of a free spirit, just a little bit. But I know for me, and especially when you have kids, a routine is necessary and it makes you more productive. It also allows you to take the thought process out of everything so that your mental energy is saved for really big problems in your life. Our brains are wired not to want to make decisions. We want to conserve energy, conserve calories for if threatening things were to happen, fight or flight. We want to preserve energy for that. So our brain tends to resist making decisions. So for me, it's been a struggle always creating systems in my business. And I will admit that I did most of the common duct tape strategies that I'm going to talk about today. And it wasn't until there was a pain point or a cost to it that it got to be too painful for me to continue to not refine and create these systems that I'm going to share with you today. So let's dive into those. Today's 4 common duct tape strategies that lash artists slap together is actually costing them both the growth of their business and their sanity. So we'll start with first duct tape excuse is website. Whether you have one or you're like, I can just use my online booking software, or I'll just use Instagram or Facebook to have an online presence. I don't really need a website. Look, there is a very, very distinct difference in online marketing for social media and your website. And I've talked about the marketing funnel in the past, so you can go back and watch that episode where I've talked about the online marketing funnel. But social media is not a website. It doesn't have the functionality of a website. It doesn't have the searchability of a website, and it doesn't have enough information and it's not user-friendly for what a website is. A website is where the most amount of information about your business can be found aside from what's in your head. We can share 1 or 2 posts a day on Facebook or Instagram to try and send that information. But in reality, if somebody is looking for more information about us and all they have is social media, they have to click on each thing, read what you have to say in the, 500 characters or less, and then go to the next post and try and find for their information rather than just going to your website, which should be organized, user-friendly, and have a clear path to give the client the information that they're looking for. The cost of you having either a duct tape website or a website that doesn't work or not a website at all is that you're leaving money on the table. If you want to be based solely on your pricing, sure, use social media. If you want to use, not have a way to convert clients off of the app, sure, go ahead. Spin your wheels on social media, but you are losing clients and you are losing money by not having a website. A website should be the first and foremost investment if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, learning how to do it yourself is the way to go. You 1000% need a website. I never coach students on anything further until they get their website in place. It's that important to the growth of your business. If you want to attract premium priced clients or luxury minded clients, you need a website. The website is the difference between an amateur and a professional. So you definitely, absolutely are losing out on potential clients if you don't have a website. So stop using social media as your website or stop using your online booking software as website. You are asking for the sale way before you've ever convinced them that you're the right person for them. So unless you're the cheapest in town, you do need a website. The next duct tape strategy is booking appointments. So the duct tape excuse I hear about not having a system or a strategy in place for booking appointments is, I don't have many clients, so I'm just going to allow anybody to book at any time, anywhere they can find me. So you probably have people who can text you or direct message you or email you or contact you through your website if you have one, or call or schedule online. That's a lot of different avenues for people to get a hold of you. And from your end of it, how long is it taking you to book an appointment? Especially if they have to text you in order to book an appointment and get availability, even with your current clientele. I'm free on Wednesday. Do you have availability Wednesday? No, but I have Thursday at 2 p.m. Oh, well, that won't work for me. How about next week? Okay, I have Monday at 4 to 6. No, I'm dropping off the kids. How about Tuesday? We've all had those conversations before we get a system in place for our booking of going back and forth with the client. And oftentimes it's in between, as we, the service provider, are either in between clients, or we're driving home, or we're texting and driving, or we're trying to be present with our family and we're kind of distracted by trying to book an appointment. You need a system or a process or a routine in place that's repeatable for booking an appointments. Booking an appointment is like the gold standard, right? It's exciting when you get to book an appointment. But if you're getting a text at midnight saying, hey, I want to book an appointment tomorrow, I just found you online, how do I go about doing that? It's a little less exciting and it's actually a little more irritating. It starts to creep into your non-working hours. And as entrepreneurs, we will work 24/7 if we know that there's money there. So there has to be a boundary around it. I highly recommend online booking to take a lot of the management of booking appointments off of your plate to give you time back. Now, I'm not talking about answering questions or interacting with potential clients. I'm talking about the convenience and the system of them being able to choose an appointment that they can see your availability and pick one that their own, what's the word I'm looking for? Why am I totally blanking on this word? Their own, what's the word? Their own convenience. That was it. That they're booking it at their own convenience for a time that works for them, and that they can do that 24/7. Jerry Natuno, who is the CEO of Schedulicity, says that 70% of appointments are booked outside of business hours. So if you want to have a life outside of your business, and I'm hoping that most of you do, that you're not constantly engaging with clients or trying to find the right time, that they can just go online and find a time that works for them. Also, the automation of texting appointment reminders or emailing appointment reminders is a huge benefit of online booking that takes it off of your plate. It's a system that's already built in there for you. So that's my solution for creating a system for booking online or for booking appointments in general. The third duct tape strategy that a lot of lash artists, when they're just getting into business, fall into is their timing of their appointments. Most of you don't even have a strategy, or your strategy is a little misguided. your duct tape excuse is if this client walks out of here with less than 100% of her natural lashes covered, she's going to represent my work poorly, or she's going to be this terrible walking billboard and my business is going to shut down because 100% of her lashes are not covered. So what this looks like is that you spend however much time it takes to get her to 100% coverage, and you have no repeatable way of growing your business. Meaning that one client gets 75 minutes because she has a lot of natural lashes, and another client you can, book out 45 minutes and just rock it out because she doesn't have very many natural lashes. As a business, we're not talking the artist mindset or the ego mindset that I have to represent my business well by getting her 100% coverage. From a business mindset, you need structure for timing of your appointments, which means that if somebody books in a classic fill appointment within 2 to 3 weeks, it's 60 minutes. Now, we'll save what you name your appointment or the timing of appointments for another day. I don't recommend saying what time a client is getting for their appointment. You just know as you that I'm going to do a 2 to 3 week fill appointment in 60 minutes, but you're calling it for a client a 2 to 3 week appointment so that they kind of have an understanding, okay, if it's within this time range, this is when I need to book my appointment again. Again, we'll save that conversation for another day, but you need to know and be able to consistently schedule out a set service time for each of your services. That means that some clients are walking out with less than 100%. Oh my gosh, I said it. That's right. What a disgrace to your artistry. But let's talk about this in reality. Clients don't know the difference between 90% and 100%. And if you've ever counted somebody's natural lashes, we don't have the same amount of lashes on each eyes. Humans are not symmetrical. So even if you were to do 100% on one eye and 100% on another eye, it may look very uneven, right? So aside from getting too detailed into how to map and how to shape somebody's eye so that they don't look a hot mess when they're walking out, you want to make sure that there is a set pain point involved if a client does not come back when you recommend that they come back. So if they have poor retention because they waited too long and they came in at end of 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, but you're giving them an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes because heaven forbid they walk out without 100% of coverage and they're unhappy with the results. If you cut your time down and you're strict, then the pain point's already there. They need to come back earlier if they were not happy with the result because they waited too long. If you're just giving away your time for free, what's to stop you from doing that when you're fully booked or you have clients who want to get in, but you've maxed out the time you have available in a day? This is where lash artists get into trouble, where they're constantly adding clients onto the end of their day and they start working 10 hours a day. You need to have consistent service times for every single appointment that every single client gets. If a client has more lashes and they want more fullness, either they need to upgrade to a higher price service that starts to add in volume, or they need to come back more frequently, or they need to add more time and pay for it accordingly, because your set service times are meant to keep you profitable and meant to keep you consistent and have some structure and stability to your business. So no more just giving away our time that you're going to walk out with 100% coverage no matter how long it takes me. When somebody books with you, you know that that is a set service time. And that leads us into, if somebody has an issue with retention, did you know that you can actually have a strategy or a system in place for retention? Why is nobody talking about this? So I actually had a system for getting predictable, consistent results and retention. Do share, Tara. Don't worry, I'm going to. So the duct tape excuse for retention is it's a bad batch of glue. How many times have we heard that? It's the glue's fault, or the glue doesn't work, or it's the client's fault because, they cried that night or they took a shower within 48 hours, right? There is actually a science that happens with our adhesive, believe it or not. And you knowing the science, that's the first part, right? Like, you got to know the science of our adhesive, can create an environment and document what's going on in your environment to help troubleshoot should you have retention issues. So one of those strategies or systems is knowing when to replace your adhesive. Now, industry standard, replacing your adhesive once a month is standard. Some adhesives can go a little bit longer than that, They generally have a few more preservatives in them and can be a little bit stronger in the fumes. Not always, but sometimes. But quite honestly, if adhesive and retention is the lifeblood of our business, you need to be investing in your adhesive. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but you need to be consistent in replacing it to keep it fresh. That is a worthwhile investment of your money, because if you have poor retention, you don't have any clients who come back. So I always dated the bottle of when I opened it. You can't absolutely store your adhesive in the fridge until you open it. Now, always check with your recommended supplier of how to store it before it's open, but once it's opened, it needs to stay out of the fridge or out of the freezer. I don't want to get into the science of it. That's something that I do go in depth in inside of the Lashpreneur Society, but moisture has a huge impact on our adhesive. That's how it cures. And if you are getting cold adhesive and a warm environment, condensation happens. So just think of a glass of iced tea, how on a warm day it starts to get water droplets that drip down it. That's what we're trying to avoid with our adhesive. So constantly opening and closing it with the temperature on the outside of the bottle being different than the inside. That's why we don't put our adhesive in the fridge once we've opened it. So that is a system by how you store your adhesive. You know, maybe if you're in a really humid environment, you store it in rice at night. Prepping the client's lashes. I am all for clients being responsible and cleaning their lashes, but I do not rely on my clients to do that before every single appointment. I want to make sure that I'm controlling my retention, which means that I prep every single client by washing their lashes. And if I'm in a place where either I have a lot of humidity or their lashes have some sort of coating on them, I want to make sure that I'm priming it as well. Priming is not always appropriate for clients, but for a lot of clients it can be, to prep the hair, right, of the natural lash to be ready to grab onto the adhesive better. So if you have a system that every client comes in and you block out enough time that you can do a full cleanse, and that you're making the client aware that if they have makeup residue on their lashes, you're going to do the best to clean it, but either you spend a lot of time cleaning and you have less time for lashing, or you don't spend a whole lot of time cleaning, you do a little bit of cleaning, and they may have suffering retention because there's still makeup residue on there. They need to be consistent in washing their lashes. That's also an opportunity to upsell makeup remover and lash cleanser. It's also a way for you to document, hey, this client on this appointment had makeup residue. This may affect retention. So my system, my number one tip for troubleshooting retention issues is document everything. I didn't realize that this was something that I had created. It was just because I was starting to have retention issues, right? Where retention was tanking. I didn't know what the client had last. I didn't know if there were any issues with her appointment the last time. I didn't know what the temp and humidity was. I assumed everything was fine because it all applied fine. And then she comes in and she's got terrible retention. So by documenting everything, we're talking what curls and what lengths you use so that you can have consistent results when you finally find a style that the client is obsessed with. By documenting the temperature and the humidity. You want to know how you get really good at knowing what your adhesive likes and doesn't like? By using it for several months on several clients, even all of your clientele, and documenting it. I can tell you right now, the adhesive that I used for 2.5 years straight, obviously I was replacing the bottle once a month, but that I knew its sweet spot, the spot that it loved, that it worked best for me was 70% humidity and, 50% humidity, 70 degrees Fahrenheit was dress up adhesive for my brand lashes. Do you want to know why I knew that? Because I documented every appointment with every client, and I would document when it started getting stringy. I would document when the client had poor retention. I would document what my humidity was. Every single detail. That's how I learned how my adhesive worked, what environment it liked best, and how I got my clients consistently to their 3-week appointment with no problems, with still more than 50% of their lashes, and how I could get clients 4 and 5 weeks retention without much issue and without a whole lot of lash loss, because I knew my adhesive so well. And the reason I knew it so well is because for 2.5 years, every client at every appointment, I documented everything to know when the adhesive wasn't happy. I knew that that adhesive, once it got past 73 degrees in my room, that it started to go, started to cure on my jade stone. So I'd have to replace the dot more when I got to 73 and 74 degrees. This is how you do retention troubleshooting like a boss, and how you get consistent results. And I do have my client record card that I use to document everything available to you for a free download so you can start using it in your business. And you can go to the lashpreneur.com/client record to get access to this client record card that I use so that you can start to document everything about your clients, every single appointment, track temperature, humidity, and anything they bring up or anything you notice. Even lashes were popping off, so that when a client comes back with bad retention, you can look back and go, you know what, I noticed they were popping off last time. I think our humidity was too high. I'm going to make sure this time our humidity is a little bit lower, and we'll try that. Or, wow, this client had amazing retention. Oh my gosh, what did I do last time so that I can replicate that again? It's a system for retention. You're welcome. So what's the cost of not having a system for retention? I don't even think we need to go into why having retention issues is such a horrible thing for your business. It is our reputation. It is the life of our business. If we can't get our clients good results, we have frustrated clients. We are frustrated because we don't know what's going on and we don't have anything to reference to see what happened between then and now. We don't have, oh, you had makeup on your lashes. This was actually something that you can work on because my application was flawless, kind of a conversation. If you're frustrated with retention, you're likely feeling like you're not a great lash artist. You're likely feeling that your business is at risk for failing because you can't get clients' retention. I know this because I've been there. I've been there twice, right? I went there before I ever knew what adhesive was or how it worked. The only information I had was dry time, like 2 to 3 second dry time. Okay, that's just the adhesive I order. And all of my clients were losing lashes. And I realized I'm putting chemicals on people's faces. I should probably know what's going on here. The second time was when we had a major humidity dip in San Diego, and my adhesive that liked a certain range, and I knew what that range was, all of a sudden we dipped below that, and I had crazy retention issues, and I lost a lot of clients. Once I got it handled, once I knew what to do, I actually reached back out to those clients and be like, hey, I actually know what I'm doing with retention, and I would love for you to come back and try me again. So those are just some costs to not having a system in place. So if you want a stable business, if you ever want to grow your business, if you ever want to bring on a team or outsource the things you don't like in your business, or if you ever want to sell your business, or you want to have your business basically run on itself, kind of autopilot style, you need to have systems in place in your business. Systems, a group of systems, is what makes up a business. So creating systems is not sexy, it's essential. Again, if you want to get the client record card download, head to the lashpreneur.com/client record. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a good one.